too busy to speak right now.
I am the teddy bear man.
Jackson's waiting to talk to you, and I'm not throwing the switch until he gives us the go-ahead.
Excuse me, Elder Maxon.
Remarkable work, Knight. The signal interceptor appears to be complete. Are you ready to put it to the test?
Lab rat, standing by.
All of us are aware of the risks you're taking. And we salute you. That being said, this is the first time we've attempted to directly adapt Institute technology. When we throw that switch, we don't know exactly what's gonna happen. God willing, you'll end up inside the Institute, and the mission can continue.
Unless I end up inside solid rock.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Now, I want you to listen very carefully. Once you've entered the Institute, we expect to lose contact, so it's imperative you remember everything I'm about to tell you. About 10 years ago, the Brotherhood began recruiting civilian scientists from the capital wasteland to assist with various projects. During this process, we were able to obtain the services of Dr. Madison Lee, a noted mind in the field of nuclear engineering.
How did the Brotherhood meet Dr. Lee?
She was part of a civilian project in the capital wasteland that the Brotherhood appropriated. It wasn't difficult to convince her to stay. That said, Dr. Lee's contributions to our cause were instrumental in maintaining order in the capital wasteland. After some time, she developed differences with the Brotherhood and exiled herself to the Commonwealth. We're fairly certain that her intent was to make contact with the Institute.
I'm surprised that the Brotherhood let her go.
Had I been in command, I wouldn't have allowed it to happen. She was a valuable asset. Your mission is simple. Once you're inside the Institute, we want you to track down Dr. Lee's whereabouts. If you find out that she's still alive, make contact with her and convince her to return to the Brotherhood of Steel. There's a special project we're working on, and it needs her attention.
What's this project that needs her attention?
Dr. Lee previously worked on a potent weapon for the Brotherhood of Steel. We'd like her to continue where she left off. That's all I can tell you. Listen to me, Knight. I'm well aware that you're risking your life going into the Institute blind. Just keep your mind on the mission. And don't let anything they say sway you from your duty. Good luck.
Ingram?
I've checked and rechecked everything. I think the signal interceptor's ready to go. Are you?
Let's do this.
All right. Head up onto the platform and we'll see if I can find a signal to lock onto. You wanted to get into the Institute, right? Well, what are you waiting for? Let's see. Relays dialed in. Beam emitters warmed up. Everything looks green. Let me start scanning for the signal. Cross your fingers. I'm inputting the code now. Wow, there's a heck of a lot of interference and ghosting. It's gonna take a minute or two to lock in. By the way, this little trip you're taking is a heck of an opportunity to find out as much as we can about the Institute and what they're up to. I put a clever little program on this holotape that'll scan their network and download anything it finds. If you place it in any terminal down there, it'll do the rest. Bring it back to me and I'll see if I can make sense of whatever it found. Well, looks like we have a winner. RF wave capture complete. Ramping the emitter. 60%, 80%. Emitter spiking but steady. All that's left is to throw the transmit switch. Transmitting in 3, 2, 1. Stay safe, soldier.
I wondered if you might make it here. You're quite resourceful. I'm known as Father. The Institute is under my guidance. I know why you're here. I'd like to discuss things with you face to face. Please, step into the elevator. I can only imagine what you've heard, what you think of us. I'd like to show you that you may have the wrong impression. Welcome to the Institute. This is the reality of the Institute. This place, these people, the work we do. For over 100 years, we've dedicated ourselves to humanity's survival. Decades of research, countless experiments and trials, a shared vision of how science can help shape the future. It has never been easy, and our actions are often misinterpreted by those above ground. Someday, perhaps, we can show them what we've accomplished. But for now, we must remain underground. There's too much at stake here to risk it all. As you've seen, things above are unstable. I'd like to talk to you about what we can do for everyone. But that can wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Sean?
Huh? Yes, I'm Sean.
Sean? Is that really you?
Who are you?
Sean, it's me. I'm your dad.
Father, what's going on? What's happening?
Those bastards, they took you from me.
What's going on? Father? Father!
Shh. It'll be okay, Sean. I'm here now.
I don't know you. Go away. Father! Father, help me! There's someone here, help me!
Please,
Father?
Sean. I'm your father.
Father, help me!
Talk to me.
He's trying to take
Just
me.
open the door.
Father, help me!
Sean. S923, recall code Cirrus. Fascinating, but disappointing. The child's responses were not at all what I anticipated. He's a prototype, you understand. We're only just now beginning to explore the effects of extreme emotional stimuli. Please try and keep an open mind. I recognize that you are emotional, and that your journey here has been fraught with challenges. Let's start anew. I am Father. Welcome to the Institute.
This is insane. All of it.
The degree of trauma you're experiencing right now is understandable. Please, just try to relax. I know this is all difficult to take in.
God. All we're missing are the teacups and the white rabbit.
Ah, levity. Excellent. A sure sign that you adapt quickly to stressful environments. But I need you to realize that this situation is far more complicated than you could have imagined. You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, your tenacity and dedication have been rewarded. It's good to finally meet you, after all this time. It's me. I am Sean. I am your son.
It's really you. After all this time.
Yes. It's true. In the vault, you had no concept of the passage of time. You were released from your pod and went searching for the son you'd lost. But then you learned that your son was no longer an infant, but a 10-year-old boy. You believed that 10 years had passed. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years? That is the reality, and here I am. Raised by the Institute, and now its leader.
Hell of a story. But I guess it does make sense.
I'm glad you're willing to accept the truth. It's quite encouraging. At that time, the year 2227, the Institute had made great strides in synth production. But it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being. Walking, talking, fully articulate, capable of anything.
Human synths? Really?
Human-like synths. A great distinction. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human DNA. Plenty of that was available, of course. But it had all become corrupted. In this wasteland, radiation affected everyone. Even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above, members of the Institute had been exposed. Another source was necessary. But then the Institute found me, after discovering records from Vault 111. An infant, frozen in time, protected from the radiation-induced mutations that had crept into every other human cell in the Commonwealth. I was exactly what they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human-like synth you see today. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
Sean.
It really...
Right.
I know you must have questions.
Your mother. She never got to see you grow up?
Yes. What happened to her was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems her death was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage.
Collateral damage? Is that all she was to you?
I forget that it's been such a short time for you. I don't have any direct memories. And I've had my entire life to cope with the loss. Has it always been easy? Of course not. But I've done my best to move on and live my life. For many years, I never questioned who my parents were. I accepted my situation, and that was that. With old age comes regret. And asking what if more often. But what matters now is that you and I have a chance to begin again. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Kellogg. He worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
You knew the man was a psychopath, and you used him anyway?
Would you have preferred that I turned him loose on the Commonwealth? At least keeping him on a short leash kept the collateral damage to a minimum. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg's vicious nature. I will freely admit that. Institute technology prolonged his life, and his usefulness far beyond any normal human lifespan. He never failed the Institute, but his cruelty became more apparent with every completed objective. I won't lie. It's no coincidence your path crossed his. It seemed a fitting way to allow you, us, to have some amount of revenge. What else can I say to ease your mind?
So you're in charge of the Institute?
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. It's a responsibility I take very seriously. The Institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future, no matter what those above ground might think of us.
They're scared of you, Sean. Scared of the Institute.
People are always frightened by what they don't understand. Ultimately, the Commonwealth has nothing to fear from us. Whatever you've seen or heard, I know I can convince you of that. Just give me time. I know there's more for us to discuss. But the Institute is on the verge of some important breakthroughs. Your presence would be appreciated as we approach them. I've been a part of something amazing here. I've helped to build a life for myself and the people of the Institute. And now, after all these years, you have an opportunity to help with that. Doesn't that intrigue you? Isn't that what you want?
You want me to stay here? In the Institute?
Yes, that is what I propose. Is it so hard to imagine? The Institute can provide a better life. You've been in the Commonwealth. You've seen what it's like.
How can you say that? How can you be so dismissive of all those people? Everything they've done?
Because it is the simple truth. And I believe you know it too. I simply ask that you give the Institute, me, a chance. A chance to show you what I've been telling you. We really do have humanity's best interest at heart. Will you take that chance?
Are you sure you want this?
Yes, I am.
I'm sorry. I can't do that.
I'm sorry to hear that. I had certainly hoped we could work together. But every man must make his own decisions. If you choose to leave, I cannot force you to stay. Understand, though, that I cannot allow you to remain within the Institute. You may have safe passage back to the relay, where you will be sent back to the surface. But from that point, you must be considered hostile. I am sorry. I must think first of the safety of the Institute. And in the cruel world that has developed, those who are not with us are against us. The elevator will return you to the relay.
Sean, can we talk about this?
Have you reconsidered your decision?
Sean, isn't there some other option? Some other way we can work things out?
You've seen the Commonwealth. You must have some idea.
Uh-huh.
You're either with us or you're not.
I'm sorry.
That's a shame. You may see yourself.
Sensor anomaly. You must die now, human. Targeting.
Can't pick this. Sean, can we talk about this?
Have you reconsidered your decision?
I've changed my mind. I'll work with you.
Well, that's good to hear. All right, then. The Institute is now your home, as much as it is mine. Please, take some... You'll want to introduce yourself to the division heads. And finally, Dr. Lee in Advanced Systems. They've all been noted.
This a clean floor. Are your visual receptors malfunctioning?
Welcome
Can
to
you
the
not see
Institute,
crime
sir.
dust? Is it true Food Supplement 77 has been discontinued?
We're all looking forward to working with you.
That was my favorite
It's an
one.
honor to have you here, sir.
I will be happy to forward your request to the Bioscience Division.
She's been at it for over 2 hours. What is she even testing?
Mention it? Nothing. At this point, she's just doing
Doc.
Oh, hi there. Sorry if I seem distracted. I memorized 5 sets of design schematics, and now I'm doing detailed mental comparisons.
What kinds of blueprints?
Mostly components for a new plasma pistol concept I've been toying with. Energy weapons are... Anyway, I'm glad you... I really hope you'll stay...
Dr. Lee.
Oh, it's you. You're not authorized to be here.
Actually, I was looking for you.
Me? Why? Where are you going? I thought you wanted to talk. Oh, it's you. You're not authorized to be here.
Actually, I was looking for you.
Me? Why?
I've been sent by the Brotherhood of Steel to find you.
You don't beat around the bush, I'll give you that. I knew it was just a matter of time, but
Sure.
I've been looking over my shoulder for almost a decade, waiting for them to send someone like you to kill me.
No, I just want to talk.
Fine. Since Father trusts you, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I might not agree with everything he says, but I know he'd never allow harm to come my way. Say what you came here to say, and then leave me alone.
Are you happy here?
You'd think being surrounded by cutting-edge laboratory equipment and some of the greatest minds the world's ever known would be enough. Only problem is the lack of transparency. I don't think we get the full story on everything that occurs down here. What does that have to do with why we're talking?
The Brotherhood needs your help, Doctor.
Needs my help. Why? They seem to have everything under control when I...
Abandoned the projects you wanted to complete?
You should know better than to ask me that. If they didn't tell you what I was working on, I'm certainly not going to put my... Tell me something. Why would I possibly want to come crawling back? What reason would I have to throw away everything I've accomplished here?
Father trusts me, and so should you.
He trusts you because you're family. I'm not. I can't just take your word for it. I need more than that.
The Brotherhood has always been straight with you.
I am getting a bit tired of all the secrets around here. Sometimes I feel like Father isn't being straight with me. Like there are things I'm not supposed to know about. I don't like that. But still, how can I turn my back on all of this?
Your work could be instrumental in freeing the Commonwealth.
You really know how to push my buttons, don't you? You know, I never understood why the Institute was so damn selfish. All those innocent people up there, dying. And here I am, surrounded by technology that could make their lives better. Yet we hide down here and insulate ourselves from everything and everyone. It's not right. It's not right. I'll make my way back to the Brotherhood. But I'm going to have to do it on my own. I can't take any chances being seen with you. Tell whoever sent you that they've just regained the services of Dr. Madison Lee. Now, for the sake of keeping up appearances, let me see that Pip-Boy of yours. I've been told to install a courser chip in it for you. Father's orders. You're to be given full access, with the ability to relay in and out of the Institute at will.
Thank you. I'm sure that'll come in handy.
Given that the relay is the only way to access the Institute, handy is something of an understatement. In case the significance is lost on you, you'll be the only one here with that kind of access. If nothing else, it should demonstrate the amount of trust, Father. Speaking of, I trust our discussion will remain between the two of us. Now, I need to get back to work, and I'm sure you have other things to do.
This lady should be like really old.
This is day 8 of Trial 6. The last week has been very productive but exhausting. I think we'll need a break after this. Benet has done some really marvelous work with the personality mesh. It's almost too good. The responses map almost identically to expectations, some of the most lifelike I've seen. Of course, it's not really Sean. None of his memories are in there. That, even now, would be a step too far. It's starting to have an effect on the team, I think. I know I've been caught up twice. Just a second or two, forgetting that he's not a real boy. Still, I think we'll need to consider restricting him to the lab only for the moment. I'm well aware that others are put off by his presence. If I were slightly more arrogant, I might consider that a sign of success.
You had time to examine my latest reports on Batch 274?
Not yet. Dr. Holdren's synth gorilla project is showing promising results.
Dr. Orman's lecture on
Glad you
cold
made
fusion was nothing short of a revelation.
Young Wally must be close to 10 years old by now. It's remarkable that any child can survive for so long up there, don't you think?
I try not to think too much about it. We have more than enough to occupy ourselves here. Those people are the last remnants of a dying past. It's best not to dwell on the subject.
They're still people, and they're suffering. We can at least admit that it's regrettable. After all, how can we hope to redefine mankind if we can't even hold on to our own humanity?
Well, that's a question best left to our colleagues in the robotics division.
Yes, well...
Excuse me, Doctor.
I suppose
Welcome.
you're right.
So good to have you here. Dr. Clayton Holdren, head of the Bioscience Division. I can't wait for you to see the work we're doing. It's truly amazing.
I look forward to learning more about it.
In that case, let me give you a brief overview of what we do here. As the name implies, the Bioscience Division specializes in fields of study such as botany, genetics, and medicine. Our most important directive is to ensure the health and well-being of everyone in the Institute. To that end, we cultivate highly specialized breeds of flora for use in food and medicine. We've even started to explore the idea of synthetic animal life. You probably saw the gorillas. They're really just a pet project at this point, but the potential is exciting nonetheless.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything more exciting than fake gorillas.
Speaking only for myself, I find them fascinating. Of course, I might be a little biased. I'm sure I've taken up enough of your time as it is. But
I'm not sure how well I'll fit in, but I'd like to give it a try.
Great. In any case, I imagine you'll want to continue looking around.
I'm good for now. Thanks.
Take care, then.
Got it. Nice. That's it. Yes.
Engaging.
Ouch.
There we go.
This is Dr. Elliot reporting for the Bioscience Division. March 22-24. We just received another batch of subjects, but as my previous report stated, we're at an impasse here. More of the same won't help. The two most promising strains of FEV have been adapted to an ideal state, but we're still missing something. I am officially echoing the team's position. The most likely progress for our research on synthetic organics requires new avenues of exploration. Additional Commonwealth subjects will not help. It's the same problem across the board: exposure to too much radiation. We need someone new. There's a proposal we'll be putting forward. I am not entirely comfortable with it, but it seems the best course.
I hear we're about to get a new food supplement.
Ooh.
Almost done. Just need to tighten
Hey,
up
Doc.
this primary
They weren't
drive
kidding.
servo.
You really are here. Well, all right. I'm Allie Fillmore. You can think of me as the Institute's chief engineer. When Father told us about you, I could hardly believe it. You've been through so much, I think most people would have just given up. If you don't mind my asking, what was it that kept you going all that time?
I just wanted to find my son and keep him safe.
Now that you've found him, I hope you're proud of the great man he grew up to be. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown of the facilities division, and then I'll answer any questions you might have afterward. As you might guess, we keep the Institute's mechanical and electrical systems running smoothly. We maintain and upgrade all of the systems that make it possible to live and work in a place like this. There's a lot of machinery behind these walls that recycles the air and water and provides power to the laboratories and quarters. The work we do might not be as exciting as some of the other departments, but it's at least as important. So, now that you're here and you're speaking to Father, does that mean you're on board?
Absolutely.
Oh, good to hear. It'll be a little... Take your time. Get yourself acquainted. If there's anything else you'd like to know...
It must be a challenge to meet the power demands of a place like this.
Absolutely. We scratch and scrape for every precious ounce of voltage that we can. Over the years, we've learned a few tricks that help supplement our power budget. When necessary, we can tap into select sources on the surface. We take only what we need, of course. Fortunately, Advanced Systems is always working on new solutions to generate more energy. It's a good thing, too, because the demand is always increasing. You don't even want to know what a single use of the molecular dematerializer consumes. That's the third primary drive breakdown this month. As far as I'm concerned, the phase-out on these older models can't come soon enough.
Oh, I don't know. Most of them have lasted long past their projected lifespans.
No visible reaction to the K-14 compound. We'll start the next trial.
Good to see you.
The dosage will be much larger this time, and the side effects will likely be more pronounced.
Will there be any pain?
Father is more than just our
suppose
leader.
it's your job.
He is our creator.
You know the protocol, sir.
Nothing to report.
I am seriously thinking of heading over to robotics to knock some heads
Smell
together.
like you've been above ground.
They're dragging
All this
their
must
feet
be
on
a
the
little
targeting
overwhelming
package
for you.
upgrades I asked for. Maybe I should take some courses with me.
Please don't. There's enough friction as it is between us and pretty much all the other departments.
You going soft on me, Alana? My methods get results, and they will this time as well. You'll see. Courses on the hunt are relentless. If you see one, you should stay out of its way.
I know it'll be a
Hi,
difficult
Doc.
adjustment
So,
for you, but try to remember
Here
that
you are.
synths aren't
Justin
people.
Ale, Acting Director of the Synth Retention Bureau. I'll be upfront with you. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the near future. Despite your relation to Father, you're a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm sure you understand. There won't be any issues, will there?
Why? Don't you trust me?
I'll be honest. You're an outsider. The first outsider to be allowed access to the Institute in quite a long time, in fact. There's little precedent for this situation, so it's only natural to take extra precautions, It's nothing personal, I assure you. Now, Father has asked that I provide you with a brief overview of the Synth Retention Bureau. Our primary responsibility is the recovery of escaped synths that are hiding among the human population on the surface.
If the synths want to be free, you should let them.
Synths do not want. They might look like human beings, but they're machines. As to why they're escaping? That matter is currently under investigation. Our main instrument is the Courser, a third-generation synth assigned to operate on the surface. Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute. They are highly self-sufficient, trained in combat, infiltration, and tracking. In a word, our Coursers are relentless. But I gather you know all this, since you've encountered... In fact, I'd very much like to know how you defeated it.
I hate to break it to you, but your Courser wasn't all that tough.
Then it's likely the unit was defective. It's rare, but faults can occur from time to time. I suppose I'll have to ask robotics to perform detailed diagnostics on the entire production run. As if we don't have enough problems. Now, unless you need something else, I'll get back to work.
I'm good for now. Thanks.
Very well.
All systems nominal.
All done. You can return to your duties.
Reporting the status. All functions normal.
The door is here. How funny. And convenient.
Adjusting internal bayonet pressure.
I received
Green
word
lights
that Dr.
across
Lee
the
is
board.
returning to us. How cooperative do you think she'll be?
I've convinced her that the Institute is the enemy, not the Brotherhood.
Well done, Knight. As soon as Dr. Lee arrives, we'll interrogate her aboard the Prydwen. She's been under the Institute's influence for the last decade, and we can't afford to take any chances. Now, I believe you still possess an important piece of data that Proctor Ingram is eagerly awaiting. I want you to bring it to her immediately. Once again, Knight, you don't fail to impress. Dismissed.
getting a bit of a
Why?
twitch on Prop 3.
Jealous you
Just
had to
before.
turn yours in?
Hey.
There's something you...
Aw.
Need?
Laser weapons myself. It's a cleaner shot. Leaves that memorable ozone smell behind.
Here's your holotape, Proctor. Hope the data on that thing was worth it.
Thanks. You know, it's good to see you're still in one piece. I wasn't sure what the Interceptor would do to you.
You mean being zapped into energy and then put back together again? Piece of cake.
You can make jokes all you want, but I wouldn't put so much faith in technology I didn't understand. Speaking of technology I don't understand, I'll get this holotape to Proctor Quinlan. I'm dying to find out what's on it.
For all we know, that thing could be a recipe for Deathclaw surprise.
Well, it's the best we could do with such short notice. Before we jump to conclusions, let's see what Quinlan's scribes can get off of it. I'm sure the Institute has all of their data heavily encrypted, so it's gonna take some time to crack. After that, we'll have to see what we've got. There's no telling what we might have grabbed off their mainframe. In the meantime, I've got a new assignment for you. So, I bet you're eager to get your hands dirty on our new project. How much has Maxon told you about it?
Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll help us crush the Institute.
It will, but we've got a lot of work ahead of us first. Come on, it's this way. Unless you're blind as a bat, I'm sure you've noticed that we've been building a gantry on the tarmac. Maxon and Kells have been looking for something that'll tip the balance when we go toe-to-toe with the Institute. Now, the Prydwen might be a big beast, but she's not built for fighting. That's where our new project comes in.
Hey, lend you a hand with that terminal? All you gotta do is ask.
Shut up, Valentine.
This storage bay full of parts is what's left of Liberty Prime. The Brotherhood used it.
Fallout 3's pride and joy.
It's the most advanced robot the Brotherhood has ever had at its disposal. Unfortunately, Liberty Prime was destroyed in the line of duty. I've spent the better part of the last few years piecing him back together. And if you think that was easy, try rebuilding a Protectron while you're blindfolded. In order to get Liberty Prime fully operational, we're going to need your help.
No problem. I'm sure this only looks worse than it actually is.
Huh. I wish I had your confidence, because this is not going to be easy. Now, the good news is that we've got most of Prime's parts fully assembled. The bad news is that it's going to take more than a few rivets and some spot welding to get them working. The first problem is his CPU. It's fragile, and every time we try to feed power to it, it blows itself out.
There's gotta be a way to solve that.
I do all the maintenance on the Prydwen, so you'd think it'd be a snap. As much as I hate to admit it, Prime's powers... Luckily, you were able to convince Dr. Madison Lee to return. She was on the original build team for Liberty Prime a little over a decade ago. I've already spoken to her, but she's reluctant to work on Prime for some reason. If you could get her down here to lend a hand with his power system...
Attention all personnel. Research patrols are a crucial facet of our operation here in the Commonwealth. Any Brotherhood soldiers that have not received a research patrol assignment should speak to Proctor Quinlan immediately.
If you're working on Liberty Prime, you can forget it.
One of us is a liar, and it isn't me.
Oh, don't try and pin that nonsense on me. I said I'd come back to the Brotherhood, and I have. But you neglected to mention that I'd be asked to work on Liberty Prime. I've been down this road with the Brotherhood before. Why would I make the same mistake twice?
Because we care what happens to the Commonwealth.
You may not like the Brotherhood, but the people of the Commonwealth shouldn't have to suffer for it.
You know, if anyone else wearing a Brotherhood of Steel uniform said something like that, I'd laugh in their face. But coming from you, it sounds like you actually mean it. Tell Proctor Ingram to get her scribes ready. It's going to take a hell of a lot of work to get Liberty Prime back online, but we'll get it done.
And now, a word or several from our sponsors. Choice Chops wants you to know we have meat. Just meat. Stop asking if we have anything else.
I've served on this vessel.
Adam Bombaby is next.
Do you know what a 10-pound cockroach can do to a buoyancy regulator?
You already know. Don't get smart. You want to see the Brotherhood's greatest warrior brought down the
All right. Don't tell Link. Everything holding together?
Trust me, you'd know.
Good. Firing!
All right. Everything looks nominal. And you didn't scuttle the ship. Thanks, Initiate.
Sure. Anytime.
Our cause was the wisest decision of your life, brother.
Proctor.
Well, things are off to a good start. Isn't that right, Doctor?
I hope so. Prime suffered some significant damage to his memory core. I wish your people would have been a bit more careful, Proctor. The good news is that the damage is irreversible, and I should be able to get the power flowing into his CPU core without overloading. If your people stay out of my way, that is.
Charming, isn't she?
Maybe I should teach her some manners.
That's not necessary. She isn't going to be much good to us if she's lying in a hospital bed. Besides, Dr. Lee's worth all the aggravation. We're working with one of Prime's original designers. I don't see it getting any better than that. In fact, since things are going so well, we're going to have you start building his electromagnetic actuators.
Makes sense. You'll need some powerful electromagnets to get his arms and legs moving.
That's exactly right. Well, you're full of surprises, aren't you? What we need you to do is build the actuators for us.
Even if you know what the actuators are, you still need to know how to make them. These are the plans and the materials list.
Sure.
Now, before you get that look on your face, you'll be happy to know that we have plenty of the raw materials on that list. The only thing we need you to head out and find is a high... According to Proctor Quinlan, the best place to find one is in any of the ruined hospitals. We've already sent out a few teams to find the rest of the high-powered magnets you'll need.
Once you start building the actuators, good luck.
Commonwealth's a dangerous place. Make sure you gear up.
Proctor Ingram?
That's all 4 actuators. I'm done. Nice work.
Right on schedule. I've completed the restoration of Prime's basic functions, and he's ready to go. In fact, it's getting difficult to explain to the system why it can't move right now.
Well, as soon as my scribes get those actuators in place, we'll have his arms and legs installed in no time. Which brings me to your next assignment. It won't be long before Prime can walk and talk, but he's missing one last important element. His nukes. Without them, his offensive systems aren't operating at peak capacity.
I'll run down to the Super Duper Mart and pick some up.
Cute. I wish it was that simple. Prime's bomb pack is fitted for Mark 28 nuclear bombs. The same type of bombs that were dropped from aircraft during the Great War. The Commonwealth was a major staging area for the military's Air Force, so we assumed we wouldn't have trouble finding them. But since we arrived, our scouting teams haven't located a single bomb.
That's going to be a problem. Without a fully loaded nuke pack, Prime won't have the firepower to take on the Institute.
great. That's just great.
Well, hang on a second. But before you give up hope, there's actually a...
Uh-huh.
Proctor Quinlan has located some records regarding a military installation, which was used as a nuclear weapons storage facility. We're fairly certain this included a stockpile of the Mark 28s. The catch is that the installation is located somewhere within the glowing sea.
I'll head out there immediately.
Good, because that's exactly what we're asking you to do. Scribe Halen's established a communications point. I suggest you head out there first, and establish a signal protocol with her so that the nukes can be airlifted out once you've located them. Hopefully, by the time you've returned, we'll be ready to wake Prime up. Good luck, Knight.
Let me ask you something.
Sure, ask away.
It's just, with everything that's happened with you and your family, it's a whole hell of a lot to process. I want to make sure you're holding up all right.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Huh. You're a tougher nut than I thought. Tougher than I was. Took me a long damn time to get a feel for this place. Thank goodness I found Diamond City. It's got its flaws, sure, but it beats the hell out of anywhere else in the Commonwealth. Of course, when I took up there back when, people were just as scared of the Institute as they are now. Maybe more. The massacre of the CPG was still pretty fresh in people's minds at that point. And folks were still losing sleep over the broken mask. Plenty of people assumed I was just a saboteur, moving in to melt down the reactor or poison the drinking water. But at the time, they couldn't exactly turn me away.
Why'd they let you in?
Because I'd rescued the mayor's daughter. Gal of about 15. Pride and joy of the mayor back then. Man by the name of Henry Roberts. The young Miss Roberts decided she'd run off with some caravan hand she'd, known for an evening. Turns out the guy was part of a gang of kidnappers. I didn't even know who I was rescuing, just stumbled on a crying girl and 4 toughs. I took her home and the mayor dubbed me a hero, offered me a place in town. Lots of folks protested, said I was a spy, but he wouldn't have it. Taking up in the city was tricky at first, but I never tried to hide what I was, and people seemed to warm to that.
Was it hard settling in?
Yeah, they sure didn't make it easy. I started off doing the jobs no one else wanted. I got more banged up being Diamond City's handyman than I ever did living out in the ruins. But I guess folks never forgot I rescued the mayor's daughter, so they started coming to me when people went missing. Wife runs off with a new paramour and takes the rent money with her. Talk to the synth. An upset father decides moving him and the kids to Good Neighbor in the dead of night's not the worst damn idea since the bomb. Go get Nick. After a while, the jobs got so backed up, they didn't even ask me to do the handyman stuff anymore. Hell, I was so happy to do it, it was months before I started charging anyone. I never stopped being Nick the synth, but it was Nick the detective folks came to see. It was about then that things, it took me a long time to realize that, long story.
Sure.
see you again, Knight. You've come a long way since you stumbled in the Cambridge police station.
I'd rather discuss the mission, Halen.
Of course. I've had the men set up the equipment we'll need to pinpoint you once you've found the bombs. We've rigged up this distress pulsar to emit a unique tone that we'll be listening for. When you find the bombs, plant the pulsar, and we'll handle the rest. After that, you should probably head back to Proctor Ingram and bring her your report.
If I survive, you mean?
Don't worry. Look, I know you've been through the glowing sea before, but remember to keep it. If you don't, the radiation. Good luck, Knight.
You mean this parking garage?
killed the lights.
Connie Helen there with rocket. Here's a thing, a sort of note, I guess, from a sponsor here in Diamond City, and I'll read it. Stop in for a drink at the Dugout Inn. The stories are free. The moonshine will cost you. Ask for Vadim Bobrov. That's a song about everything where they it's like you're
Someone's coming.
State your purpose, stranger. You walk on
Oh, right. Hallowed ground. Obviously. Just look how wonderful this place is.
Your mockery is wasted. The children of Atom have sworn to guard this place until the time of the Great Divide. None shall enter.
You know what? Enough of this nonsense. Tell me where the nukes are right now.
Your anger will... You will leave this...
Forgive me. I wish to repent and seek the wisdom of Adam.
You are forgiven. Follow the brilliance of the glow. May Atom's ray...
What's this? Damn, locked.
Such a positive guy, that Bing Crosby. Hey, how about a bit of good news? If you haven't already seen him, which I did, so I know it's true and not just something I overheard. Nick Valentine is back in town. He was gone for a while, and some people, who are totally not me, thought that... Well, they thought he might be dead. or destroyed, or whatever. Anyway, I'm glad you're back, Nick. Even though we never really talk. Like, ever. Here's Frankie Carl with a song that, frankly, sounds a little too good to be true. I'm not saying he was embellishing, well, no, okay. I guess I am saying that. Never mind. Here's one more tomorrow.
Proctor Ingram.
Looks like the Mark 28s are gonna do the trick. That was a good find.
I'll work with your team to ensure that Prime's bombs remain stable after they're loaded into his pack. It won't be too much of a problem.
Well, Dr. Lee, I have to admit, we couldn't have done this without you.
It's a little early to begin celebrating, Proctor Ingram. We haven't fully thrown the switch on Liberty Prime, and I'm just hoping all the work I've done to keep his system stable are gonna hold.
I have full confidence in the ability.
I appreciate that.
Proctor?
Actually, I think I'm gonna let you press the button. After all, without your...
It would be better if a trained technician performed that task, but...
Liberty Prime, back online.
Let's run a basic diagnostic on him.
Diagnostic command accepted.
Give him a moment. He needs to adjust to his new configuration.
Voice module online. Audio functionality test initialized. Designation: Liberty Prime Mark II. Mission: the liberation of Anchorage, Alaska. Primary targets: any and all red Chinese invaders.
Let me run a system analysis and a battle readiness check.
Liberty Prime, full system analysis. All systems nominal. Weapons hot. Warning: nuclear weapon payload depleted. Reload required. Warning: power core offline. Running on external power only. Core restart recommended. Ability to repel red Chinese invaders compromised.
Green lights across the board here. It's looking good from where I'm sitting. Doctor, if you wouldn't mind keeping an eye on the big guy here, I'd appreciate it. Well, I have to admit, I wasn't sure we'd be able to pull it off, but Liberty Prime's looking pretty good.
What was that he said about his power core?
Prime's in top shape, but his nuclear engine needs to be restarted. Right now, we have him running off of the Pridwin's engines. Once I get that sorted out, we'll send him off to kick in the Institute's front door. Before you head off, I came up with this little beauty myself.
Damn. I didn't get anything for you.
Oh, sure you did. It's that big metal behemoth standing over there. Anyway, that's enough of that. You better hightail it up to the Pridwin. Elder Maxson said he needed to speak to you as soon as you... And thank you, Knight.
Is there anything you wish to tell me, Knight?
I'm not sure I like how you're asking me that.
And I don't appreciate being betrayed by my own soldiers. Proctor Quinlan completed the decryption of the data you retrieved from the Institute. A portion of his findings included a list of synths that went missing or escaped from their underground facility. After careful analysis of the information, we've discovered something unprecedented. Paladin Dance is a perfect match for one of the synths on that list.
That's impossible.
I'm afraid not. The evidence is quite damning. The data you brought back included a record of each subject's DNA. We keep the same information on file for all of our soldiers. Paladin Dance's DNA is a perfect match for a synth they called M797. To make matters worse, he's gone AWOL, disappeared without a trace. His sudden absence simply reinforces our conclusion that M797 and Paladin Dance are one and the same. I'm finding it difficult to believe that he never confided in you, and then swore you to secrecy.
After everything I've done for the Brotherhood.
Your outburst leads me to believe I've misjudged you, which means I've decided to take you at your word. However, that doesn't absolve you of your duty. Dance is a synth. He represents everything we hate. A monstrosity of technology. Our mission in the Commonwealth is clear. The Institute and its creations need to be destroyed in order to preserve our future. Which leaves me facing the most difficult order I've ever given. I'm ordering you to hunt down Dance and execute him.
I won't do it. Dance deserves a chance to explain himself.
From where I'm standing, Dance isn't seeming like the guilty one here.
You will do it. This is not up for judgment or debate. I'm giving you a direct order, Knight, and I expect you to follow it without question. Listen, I'm not blind to the fact that Dance was your mentor, and this isn't an easy burden to bear. But if we're to remain strong, we can't afford to make exceptions. Even when it means executing one of our own. Find Proctor Quinlan. He's been analyzing the data and should be able to provide you with a starting point. And Knight, there's a promotion for you riding on the results of these orders. So don't disappoint me. You're dismissed.
Oh, Knight. I was told you were coming. Sorry about this business with Dance.
What do you know about this situation?
While I was decrypting, it appears that the Institute keeps exemplary records where their synths are concerned, including logging those that were reported missing. As I was perusing this list, I came across an image of Dance under the heading M797. A quick DNA comparison with our own records told the rest of the tale. I'm certain this comes as quite a shock to you, Knight. I'm sorry.
He'll be missed.
Doubtful. I wouldn't miss a synth any sooner than I'd miss a... I was merely sorry that you'd been duped. I've been poring over Dance's duty reports and... As you're well aware, Dance had intimate knowledge of the Commonwealth, and I'm afraid he could be seeking refuge anywhere. I think our best approach would be to identify every location he's ever visited and eliminate them as possibilities one by one. You may want to get comfortable. This could take quite...
What the hell is this crap about Dance being a synth?
I assume your outburst was a reference to some doubt regarding Dance's identity. I can assure you that my findings are quite accurate, Scribe.
So he sets Dance up, and then you knock him down. Is that it?
Out there in the Commonwealth. No one that's mentioned it, they don't know what it does.
I don't like your tone, Halen.
My tone. Who cares about protocol at a time like this? I can't believe that after everything Paladin Dance did for you, you're just gonna turn your back on him like this. There's obviously been a mistake, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Scribe Halen, you're addressing a senior officer, and you will show him the respect that he's due. Or so help me, I'll have you brought up on charges. Now, unless you're here with information that can assist us, I suggest you return to the police station immediately.
Of course. My apologies, Proctor. I believe I have some information that's relevant to the search.
Very well then. Would you care to enlighten us? Or do we have to wait until you decide to grace us with your knowledge?
Knight, if you'd accompany me to the flight deck, I'd like to show you the information I've compiled firsthand. I've stored the data on my Vertibird gunship's computer.
This better not be a waste of my time.
Of course not, sir.
Proceed, Knight. I'll continue doing my research here.
If you'll follow me, sir.
Halen?
This way.
Well, if it isn't the man who revived Prime, the Brotherhood...
Scribe Halen?
This way. This way. This way. This way.
Scribe?
This way.
Knight. You
This
have
way.
technical documents, perhaps? Or looking to assist on a research patrol?
I found some technical documents for you.
These will prove interesting. I'll file them immediately. Here are the caps that I promised. Remember, the Commonwealth is an almost unlimited source for these technical documents. Check every building you...
Unless you like getting shot, never turn your back on a gunner.
Do you actually plan on killing Paladin Dance?
Aren't you supposed to tell me where Dance went?
Yes. And I promise I will. But before I do, I need you to listen to what I have to say. I've known Paladin Dance ever since I was an initiate. He trained me, showed me the ropes, and when I screwed up, he taught me to dust myself off and move on. He's earned my admiration, my respect, and my friendship. I don't care what Quinlan's report says. I don't care if he's a machine or not. He's still Dance.
That's a bold statement.
It's more than just a statement. It's a plea. Dance is the most selfless person I've ever met. I've watched him risk his own life based on nothing more than principle alone. That's why I'm asking you. Not just as a member of the Brotherhood, but as a human being. Give him a chance. Let him tell his side of the story. If you're not convinced by what he says, or somehow he's become truly lost to us, then you do what you have to do.
Yeah, what Maxon's asking, it isn't just.
All right, I'll hear him out.
That's all that I ask. I'll just have to trust that when the time comes, you'll do the right thing. Before the Prib went, it was listening post Bravo, an old pre-war U.S. military outpost on the north. It's isolated.
Uh-huh.
Just